Hello, Kathy. Good evening, and thank you for doing this call. It's wonderful to have you back.
Oh, thank you, Hutch. I'm delighted to see you once again and delighted to be here. Good morning.
Okay, starting next year, the Japanese individual investors will have an opportunity to invest in stock market through a new NISA, which is tax-exempt investment scheme for individual investors in Japan. So in preparation for that, this is a great opportunity for us to be updated from you as to how we should think about investing our money for our future, particularly by using this new NISA scheme. So I want to first ask you for your thoughts as to what is happening in the U.S. economy, the interest rate, the U.S. stock market overall now, and your outlook, how you see the stock market going forward for the next year.
Yes, thank you, Hutch. The economy in the United States has been through a rolling recession, and it is still rolling, we think, and we might have a little bit of a harder landing than I think many people expect. Housing is already down to 08-09 levels, home sales. So that's already down. Autos are very, very soft. Inventories are coming down. The last thing to go now is the consumer in the United States, and the consumer saving rate is down to a very low level, 3.5%, much lower than pre-COVID when it was at 8%. And also in the US, student loan payments will resume in October. And so we're seeing the consumer confidence go down, and we also are beginning to see the early stages of softer employment. Now, what this means for inflation and interest rates. We think that inflation, it has already come down in the US from 9% to 3%. And while nothing goes down in a straight line, we do think that trend will remain down and that prices will end up declining at some point in the next 6 months to a year. Already M1 is down and negative, commodity prices are down, and we think that's all going to feed in through the pricing structure. And also innovation is very deflationary because it's technologically enabled. So I believe that the stock market has started to move up because investors are beginning to see that the Fed's nearly done, if not done, and that its next move will be to lower interest rates. And that is why innovation-based strategies have done very well. When rates were moving up, innovation strategies were hurt the most, long duration. Now interest rates expectations are coming down, and we think that innovation strategies are going to continue to do very well during the next 5 to 10 years, actually.
Very, very encouraging statement. There has been a strong trend of money moving into passively managed funds in Japan and perhaps globally. You are an active manager. Can you please explain the advantage of active funds over passive funds and explain to us why one should consider investing in active funds?
Yes, well, passive funds are more about what has happened in the past, what has happened historically. Active funds, at least the way we manage our innovation strategies, are all about the future. Now, passive will catch up to the future, but much later. To give an example, Tesla did not move into the S&P 500 until it hit $500 billion. 500, that's a big company. So all of that alpha, the broad-based benchmarks missed. We owned Tesla the entire time from the beginning of our funds in 2014 until today. And we believe that is going to happen more and more frequently because of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is going to change the world faster than anyone expects right now, we believe. And it's going to accelerate the 5 innovation platforms around which we have centered our research and investing. So multiomics sequencing, robotics, energy storage, blockchain technology, and artificial intelligence are all going to converge. And we think that the benchmarks, the broad-based benchmarks, are not going to be able to catch these convergencies and these exponential growth rates.
You know, you are well known, well, to be precise, very well known for disruptive innovation investment. For the benefit of the Japanese audience who are listening to you for the first time today, can you please give us the basics? What is the disruptive innovations and why it matters and how it will affect our daily life, corporate America, the US economy, and the stock market going forward?
Sure. Disruptive innovation, our definition, is technologically enabled, which means it follows a learning curve, which is characterized by cost coming down, cost declines. And as costs go down, more and more people have access to these new technologies, and they become mass market opportunities. I mentioned the 5 platforms in the last answer. And why it matters, it's going to transform our lives completely. And it is also going to disrupt the traditional world order. So just because a trend has been in place for 10 or 20 years does not mean that it will remain in place if these 5 technologies are going to disrupt it. And how it affects our daily lives. There are so many examples already. Multiomics sequencing is helping us find disease now, mutations in our genome, so disease, very quickly. And a mutation is like a programming error. Now we have technologies like CRISPR, Cas9, that can reprogram our genome or edit out the mutation and cure disease. So beta thalassemia, sickle cell disease, they're being cured, and there are going to be many diseases cured. Robotics is going to transform corporate America and corporate world. Japan is a leader in robotics and knows a lot about this. But thanks to the convergence of the robotics and artificial intelligence, productivity is going to skyrocket. We think the growth rates in productivity are going to be surprisingly high, maybe high single digits for a number of years, which means profits are going to be much stronger. And we also know that technology is a net job creator, and so robots will help increase the productivity of people and put them into better earning jobs. And then another very important transformation is going to be because of the convergence of robotics, energy storage, and artificial intelligence, and that's autonomous mobility. So autonomous taxi platforms, drones, trucks, boats. It's going to transform transportation and drive the cost of mobility down dramatically, and everyone will benefit from that.
So typical individual investors may wish to invest in passive fund that tracks, say, S&P 500, but you're saying it is a good idea to have some of their assets in disruptive innovation funds as a core holding and as a long-term investment of, say, over 10-year holding period.
Yes, and the reason for that is we believe that today disruptive innovation represents roughly 10% of the global equity market cap. We believe in the next 5 to 10 years, that 10% will go to 60%, and the numbers, the absolute numbers are huge. $15 trillion up to $200 trillion in market cap. And we believe that you need to be on the right side of change in order to capitalize on these new innovations. If you are in broad-based benchmarks, then you're more focused on the way the world has worked and not the way it will work.
Then how can an individual investor benefit from the disruptive innovation in stock market? How should they try to invest in such thing?
Well, I know that through your platform, we have 4 disruptive innovation strategies. So fintech, space, digital transformation, and the metaverse. And all of these, you can see when interest rates were going up, innovation strategies were hurt in 22 dramatically. And now we believe that interest rates are peaking and that they will come down. So that should help these 4 funds. Each one of them is filled with big ideas that you can find in our Big Ideas publication, Big Ideas 2023. And that will explain the building blocks, how we get from 15 trillion to $200 trillion. These are big parts of the reason, these transformations.
Kathy, because we have this slide in front of us, can you please briefly discuss the theme of each disruptive innovation funds?
Sure. So fintech, we believe that the world is evolving towards digital wallets. So digital wallets, if you think of WeChat Pay, that was the first example of a digital wallet. And we think that digital wallets now are going to spread around the world, and they'll be used not only for financial services, but also for commerce. And so we believe that's going to be one of the biggest plays out there in the world of innovation. And many companies will also be harnessing the technology that blockchains are providing. So for example, Square is dedicating a lot of its R&D to the Bitcoin blockchain. Others are going to be using more than one blockchain. So this is a very big idea. In fact, if we look at all crypto assets, and while we cannot invest in crypto assets directly, our companies are going to be touching them, as I described with Square, or now that is called Block. And we think that the world of crypto assets is going to scale to $25 trillion by the year 2030. In the case of space, talk about autonomous mobility. We're seeing 2 huge opportunities in space. The 2 biggest ones are an interconnected world, and that will bring broadband to the 2 to 3 billion people who do not have broadband right now, or who live in very remote areas, and it's very difficult for broadband to reach them. And then the other very big idea out there evolving is hypersonic flight. And some of the larger companies are working on that opportunity. And then in between, included in space, very importantly, are drones. Drones are going to collapse the cost of the delivery of food and groceries. And then air taxis are going to help alleviate some of the congestion on the roads as more and more people take an air taxi from a big city to an airport, for example. Digital transformation is really became a very important topic during COVID. This was zero touch or zero contact was a very big theme during 2020. And what we think it did was turbocharge the move towards digital everything that is going to happen because of advancements in technology. So every sector is going to be digitalized and transformed digitally. We went into hybrid work, and most companies are now hybrid in their working. Some people come in some days per week, and some people are at home. Well, you need to be digital, fully digital, if anyone is at home, of course. Telemedicine. Most people don't want to go to a doctor's office unless they absolutely have to. And a lot of healthcare is moving into the digital realm, especially now that our genomes can be sequenced and doctors can study them. So, and then finally, metaverse is, it got, of course, Meta Platforms, which used to be Facebook, committed its future to the metaverse, virtual worlds. Virtual worlds, more than half of the discretionary time of young people is spent online. And we think virtual worlds are going to evolve and become a much bigger part of spending, especially by young people as they grow older. Yes, and you can see these four strategies are outperforming the All Country World Index, with the more digital ones in the lead. Those are in the lead this year. The space portfolio tends to be a little more cyclical. There are more high fixed cost companies in that portfolio, but we think over time, as the interconnected world and hypersonic flight and drones continue to take off, that it will pull further away from the All Country World Index.
Okay, so this is a list of your top holdings of each themes. Perhaps you could give us reasons on some of these names of each fund, starting with Block and FinTech. You talked about it a little bit. Maybe you want to add something.
Yes, I think Block and Coinbase are in the running to become digital wallet plays, very big global digital wallet plays. I think that Block is going to enter emerging markets soon. It already has its testing already via Bitcoin. And that will help it get around regulation and increase financial access. Coinbase is going more institutional in its approach. And we believe that Coinbase will work through big institutions as it evolves its own wallet and other crypto services. It's going to be a full service crypto company as well. In digital transformation, we do believe that this digital wallet is a very big idea and belongs in both fintech and digital transformation at a very high position. Roku is an entertainment platform. Now, interestingly, in Japan, my last trip, I learned that many people are just going mobile in Japan with as they're viewing streaming services. That is not true in the United States and in Europe. What we are seeing, especially in the United States, is many houses have 5 to even 10 television sets, believe it or not, one for every room. Roku is a platform play on streaming. It is not a competitor to Netflix. Netflix sits on top of Roku. So does Disney. So does HBO. And it is becoming one of the largest streaming platforms, advertising based, and it's taking a huge share in advertising. Just today, it pre-announced that its revenue growth is going to be much stronger than expected. Advertising is down or has been down, and Roku's advertising revenues are now in the high teens to low 20s is the expectation.
Sorry to interrupt, Kathy. Is Roku something you have to have or it's nice to have?
Roku is becoming something you want to have, and I remember in the tech and telecom bubble, there was going to be one company who was going to be able to guide consumers, given their interests, to the right television shows back then. Now it's streaming channels. Roku is learning all about the interests of consumers and is pointing them to, and it's agnostic against Netflix and HBO and Disney. It doesn't care. It's just going to lead the consumer to the right place, including sports increasingly. We think that ESPN, which is a Disney property, is going to go full-blown streaming, and Roku will be a big beneficiary of that, we think. Would you like me to do a Shopify in digital transformation as well?
Yes, please.
Yes, Shopify is a very interesting play on social commerce, and it is deploying artificial intelligence, so chatbots, to help shoppers identify the best place to find what they're looking for on Shopify's platform. We think that it is taking share from Amazon because Amazon is not a social commerce site. It doesn't mean Amazon's going to be a terrible stock, but we do think that Shopify is taking share from Amazon. And then Unity is a game engine company. It has more than 70% share of all the virtual reality games out there. And I think one of the newest games is called Saber Beater. It's the #1 game. It's called Saber Beater. And that's a Unity platform. Roblox, of course, is user-generated games. So we've got a lot of young people who want to own storefronts and do things on the Roblox platform, which is also a social platform. And they're in effect becoming coders. They're coding in order to create these shop fronts and to engage with other people on the platform. So that's a very exciting platform. Invitae has one of the most important databases.
Why you sold NVIDIA at the beginning of the year?
Teladoc, we believe, is becoming the healthcare information backbone.